Hey Maya, turn me up. Hey, check it, man, it's the hot seat. Real raw rap, when I say rap, I'm talking hot tea. Find out all that's popping in the real streets of NC, where all the legends come and tell their stories that you can't beat. Yeah, that's the hot seat, tell me, do you feel me? It's the one platform you know will keep you rocking, where you can be the headline and I'll tell you if you poppin'. Where everybody come to see if they can stand the fire, cause you know it's hosted by the realest. Hey Maya. Hey y'all, what's up? It's your girl Ashley Amaya, and I'm back with another one. It's me. Okay, I said that. But anywho, it's the hot seat, the real, the raw, the rap, and this one is gonna be a little bit different because we're going kind of a different avenue this time. You know, normally I interview people that are like entertainment personnel and things of that nature, which is like a huge umbrella of things. But I wanted to tap into something different because I met this young man right here. Greear Webb, what's going on?
What's going on? Thanks for having me on.
Yes, I'm so excited to have you. But I met him about like two and a half years ago. And you came on at that time, you were doing like, it was some like community, I think, activist type of thing going on.
Yes, it was around the time of the Derek Chauvin trial.
Yes.
One year after George Floyd's death.
And you came on, we had you on radio with us, and you did a couple of, you talked about a lot of different things. And so I was kind of like, I wanted to tap in a little bit more of what you do, right?
Right.
So I like to joke and I say this is my little politician or whatever the case may be. That's what, you know what I'm saying? But before we get into that, I'm going to let him tell you what he do. So we do this thing, it's called the base segment. That's where you brag about yourself.
Okay.
And so basically you get 60 seconds to pretty much let your resume know, like let it be known, this is what I do. And yeah, you're right. She wanted to tap into me because I do something that's just that great. You know what I'm saying? Look at my suit. Check me out. You feel me? I mean, okay. So you get 60 seconds. But when you hear this sound, that's it.
All right.
Okay, you ready?
We're going to make it happen.
Look into the camera and go off.
What's going on, everybody? My name is Greear Webb. I'm currently a senior Morehead Kane Scholar at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, double majoring in political science and African American studies with a minor in social and economic justice. I got active, I like to say, after the Parkland school shooting in 2018. Just felt deep down in my heart that that was not right and that young people deserve to feel safe in school. And so I worked with some of my peers, put on an event that led to the creation of a nonprofit called Young Americans Protest, or YAP for short. And now I'm working in the school system in Durham Public Schools at Sidekicks Academy as a director of social justice and the chief of staff to the executive director, Master Freddie McNeil, where we're pouring into the next generation. So I've always loved people. I'm very passionate and proud of what I do and what I've been able to accomplish. I wouldn't be anywhere without my friends, without my family, and without the Lord. So that's me in 60 seconds, and I'm glad to be here.
Come on, Graham. That was it. Go ahead, Mike. Go ahead, Dr. Fox. No, I'm playing with you. Oh my goodness, that was amazing. That was amazing. Okay, so let's get into the smoke. You ready?
Let's do it.
All right, so social injustice. When I say those two words, what does that mean to you?
The first thing that pops into my head is wrong. I mean, society and our social day-to-day, everyday lives should be just, right? We should be able to have fun and get along with one another and support and defend each other, and we shouldn't have to worry about violence or about fear or about sexism or racism or any of that. And so money, how much it costs to live. I mean, we should be able to live freely, and we should live in a way that's responsible and compassionate and also empathetic to those around us. But when I hear social injustice, I just think it's wrong. And now I've started to think, what can I and my peers do? What can we do to fix it, to make things a little better? I
love that because I'm such a, it's one of those things where it's like it's a person for everything, right? And so when you think of just being honest, when you think of the black culture and when you think of the world of politics, right? It's not something we talk about. It's not something that we talk about because like the most that people think about is the police or the sheriff.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But like as far as seeing yourself as being able to be a game changer and having enough game changer, right?
Right.
What pulls you or what pulled you into really wanting to kind of like, fight for this thing or fight for this cause?
I think the first thing that pops into my head when you say all of that is representation.
Mm-hmm.
And then also conditioning, social conditioning, right? Which is more of a psychological term, but we don't see ourselves, historically, we haven't seen ourselves in politics as black people, right? We've been just trying to make it day to day, especially since times of enslavement. And so to now be at this place where we have agency, where we have community, and we've always had community, but now we see the ways that black folks can rise up together and work with those around us to create a better future, but also a better now for us. I think of representation, and I think of people like, yes, President Obama, but even folks now like Attorney Ben Crump or like Hakeem Jeffries in Congress, and people who are talking the talk and doing their best to walk the walk. And so it's up to us to hold one another accountable, but also to be proud of our heritage, proud of our history, and also be proudly political. I mean, a lot of people think of the police, and black folks might also think of the Black Panthers. They were political, right? We might think of Harriet Tubman or King or Malcolm X. They were political because they were dealing with people. I like to tell folks all the time that the word political comes from the ancient Greek, P-O-L. The root word of political means people or citizens. So when people say, oh, no, I'm not political, you don't care about people? You don't have folks in your life that you look up to or want to protect or that make you mad? I mean, those are people too. And so you are being political when you are living out your life. And so what got me into this is just my inherent love for people. I mentioned my family already, but my family are at the core of everything I do. My grandparents who are still in my life, thankfully, and just folks all around, extended family and mentors who are like family, who instilled in me the courage to speak up and to use my voice from a young age. I mentioned, you know, Parkland, Florida in 2018 really spurred me to action. But then Sohail Mojarrad here, who was killed by police in 2019 in the city of Raleigh, that also stirred something up in me, and I got to know his family a little bit better and understand just that injustice and what it's going to take to move from a place of historical wrong and harm to equity and safety, especially for black and brown people. And so I say all of that to say that representation does matter, but also how we act matters. And so I'm glad to be from a family who has always encouraged me to use my voice and act in a positive way and in a way that defends people who are being harmed and also uplifts people who are overlooked.
Okay. So tell me a little bit about your I guess your childhood as far as like your home. You know, your like when Greer go home, it's like who gets to see the kind of like side, you know?
I mean, my family definitely does. I'm home now.
What your mom and dad? Let me know what your mom and dad like. What they do?
Let's get
just
into it.
stand up guys. I want to know what your mom and dad do.
No, they're the best. I'm home now for spring break. It's senior year, so I'm just trying to make it to May 14th, trying to graduate here in 2023. And so I'm home. My sister is actually abroad in Europe studying and taking advantage of exploring the world, so I'm proud of her for that. She's 2 years younger than I am, so I'll start with my siblings and get to my parents. And then my younger brother, Mitchell, he is a junior at Sanderson High School in Raleigh, which is where I went, which is where my dad went.
Wow.
So we have some history here in Raleigh. My dad's mom taught at Millbrook High School for over 15 years here in Raleigh. And so I come from a family of educators. My mom is amazing, and she is somebody who has constantly loved on me and poured into my life. My parents met at a bank, so they have that financial background. I like to tell this funny story. I believe my dad was my mom's boss when they met. Now she says it's the other way around.
Oh,
but no, they work well together and have always really, again, instilled that love into their 3 children. I'm the oldest, and so I've had to, you know, step up and also step back sometimes, right? And let my younger siblings thrive and let them learn from my parents and not be a parent, but also go and live my life and be courageous and confident in what my parents have instilled in me. So I'm grateful to have both sets of grandparents still living who poured into my parents, and then my parents, my dad who is black, my mom who is white, which makes me and my siblings biracial, which we might get into later, but that's also shaped my identity. So we grew up always talking about race, talking about how we didn't fit into these fictional and fictitious categories that America has made up to categorize people or to separate people based on the color of their skin. And so always growing up in this in-between has allowed me to feel confident wherever I go, and especially confident in my own skin. So I credit my parents with that.
Wow. I love that. I love that because a lot of times when you think of the black home or you think of the black family, a lot of people have one way of seeing the black family.
Right.
One way of seeing though. And I'm like everybody can't be the Cosbys, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, all the other shows that you see or your reality TVs, everybody's
Right.
not that family either. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, that's why media is so important.
Oh my
And
goodness.
showing different representations
Oh.
of life and
not
people and family.
representations of the negative things.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. Not always negative,
Right.
but real. Right.
Real.
And raw, like we talked about on this show. And,
Yes.
and uncut and able to get right to the heart of the matter,
Yeah.
which is that life is hard. Right? And
Yeah.
family should be that support, and that's not everyone's reality.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you have one parent in the home or two or grandparents or whoever you call your family, whoever
Yeah.
you look up to on that intimate level, they're important to
Yeah.
your life. And so no, not everybody can be the Cosbys, but some people are out here like the Cosbys, and that's fine. As long as you're not hurting nobody.
You got
and
some Uncle Phils and Aunt Vims too.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying?
There you go.
You do.
I mean, and I think it's cool too that we're able to, on that note, remake some of those shows, like The Fresh Prince. Right now we have a remake that brings in
now you
some
get
of
into
the
something else, because you know some people be like, don't touch what we had.
Well,
you know?
I think that goes back to this whole thing. Politics comes into everything that we discuss and do. So now folks are trying to ban history, right? We've got states who are trying to erase the black experience. And it's like, wait a minute. There was what occurred in the 60s and then 70s and 80s and the emergence of the black family and this black agency that I spoke of earlier. And now we're able to remake that and bring in technology and our cell phones and consider what it means to put a new spin on what it means to be black. And it's still beautiful. I think that's awesome. So I'm a fan of remakes, most remakes.
Okay.
And I love the idea of media and entertainment that showcases, like you said, the realness, but also the positive nature and the supportive nature of black folks in this country and in this state. And I think that cannot be understated. I mean, folks have their own ideas on rap music and R&B and all of this. And I love music, I love entertainment, and I love sports. And so I'm passionate about working and connecting, partnering with folks in those industries to uplift black folks, right? And show that, yes, we are amazing athletes, but we're also great fathers, right? We're great uncles and grandparents. And I think it's amazing to also know that we can sing like nobody's business, and we take all of that history and we put it into a song, but we can also be engineers. We can also do sound and video. We can create the banners, and we can create the wiring that it takes to produce that sound and spread it and share it. And so there's so much versatility is the word I think of when I consider black folks. And I think media and entertainment play a big role in that. But anyway.
Oh, but anyway, I'm just saying. Okay, so one thing, like, when it comes to just knowing law, right? And knowing the value that sometimes some people should say that they don't feel they have. Some people feel like the value they do have. But then there's a lot of in-between people because they don't understand history and they don't know, you know. So we kind of talked a little bit about it off of camera, right? But just the history of Raleigh and just that the politics scene, politics scene in Raleigh, right?
Yeah.
Where do you feel like we kind of stand?
And
I know it's a loaded question.
It is. I mean, I'll just start by saying this. I think young people are the future. So I see a lot of hope in Raleigh's young black individuals, college students or workers or even folks that are still in elementary school and middle school, the age group I work with in the Triangle area. I see that young black folks are the future. And it all comes back to education. I have what I call the big three.
Okay.
I call it the big three for true change. Number one, it's an equation. The first variable is education. The second is protesting or challenging injustice. And the third is policy change or written change. Because we know how important laws are in this country. And we know that so much won't change unless we write it down and change it. I mean, we're able to go to court and hold people accountable. And that's why I'm looking forward to a career in the law. And so I think that
we're going to talk about that too. Go ahead.
No, let's get into it for a second though.
Yeah, what are you trying to, okay, go ahead.
So I think there's ignorance and then there's willful ignorance. I think America has been willfully ignorant and has intentionally ignored black history, shoved it aside, suffocated it, because they know that there's so much power and potential in our black folks. They also know there's so much emotion, both positive and negative, in America's black community. Somebody said, I can't remember her name, but she is a black activist. She said America should be glad, even in 2023, but this was in 2020 after George Floyd's murder, that black folks aren't out seeking revenge every day.
You were just like really in my head, because I feel like when it comes down to it, when it comes down to like the black and white of it, I feel like you have like, just as black and brown people, you have those who have gotten over what y'all did, and those who are like, nope, we will never forget. Like every chance we get, you know. So I'm not gonna do certain things because we, like, some people, one half has gotten over it, one half is kind of like, how do we move past it?
Right. Well, and again, I think the way we move past it is with love and with education.
Yeah.
And so I think, going back to what we talked about off camera and what I talk about often, is it's important to know who your elected officials are and your representatives. And a lot of times, even if I don't agree with mine, they're still there and willing to have a conversation. You know, find their emails. We're in 2023. Everybody got an iPhone. You know, you reposting a TikTok, go ahead and find out who your representative is and try to communicate your issue to them. Or if you don't want to do that, create a small group. Find some folks in your community who agree with you and go and speak during the public comment at a city council meeting, or have your own protests. I think it's important that you know who your elected officials are at every level, so that you can at least communicate about them to those around you, so that you can serve as an educator in your community. And I think we've lost some of that power in the black community. When you think about the civil rights movement, especially in Raleigh, you've got SNCC, you've got Dr. King, who came down to Raleigh's Memorial Auditorium in the 60s and talked to young people, and he said, prepare to get arrested, but know your rights. And so I think it's important that we have more Know Your Rights informational sessions in this community, in Raleigh's black community, and really across the country, understanding that this system is not designed to support us as black folks. It's not. And so in a way, we have to outsmart the system by speaking about the truth, by educating those around us and defending those around us. But America is quick to lock up, quick to kill, but they not like to
slow to teach, though.
Slow to teach, and they don't want to unlock our potential as black folks. And they don't want to liberate us to go out and educate folks on the true history. And let me just say this. I think a lot of these conversations nowadays are so backwards about banning black history. They just don't even make sense, because on the one hand you say, oh, America is great, and yes, some folks will say America has had its ills and its challenges, let's just move forward. How can you move forward if you don't completely understand what happened? And we know that there was miseducation. And
change the things that made that happen,
Right. And change the systems and structures through written law, through community change. And so we've got to continue to push and protest, like my second point of true change, but I think it all comes back to education, to exploration, and to uniting, as a black community, and saying, hey, we know we deserve these rights. What can we do to achieve them? And how can we work within the system sometimes to outsmart the system instead of trying to do everything by ourselves? Because we know that's just so difficult a lot of times.
So even with you saying those things, let's say there is somebody that's watching and they want to know, well, I am one of those people that I don't know who my representatives are, right? Or I am one of those people that I want to know a little bit more about what affects me in my nearby area, right? So can you give them just a little bit of knowledge on how to find that information, or where they can go to get that kind of information?
Well, first, shameless plug, you can hit me up. You can find me on social media. I'm just at my name, Greear Webb. And again, I work with Young Americans Protest, which is the nonprofit that I co-founded after the Parkland school shooting, and our whole mission is to plug young people in North Carolina into the political spaces where they live and teach them about their county, in their city or their town, and their state level representatives. And so the easiest thing to do, honestly, is to Google it. I think you can actually Google who is my representative, or who is my city council person. And I know it's difficult, but you might have to look at a map, you might have to put in your address, and that will show you, it will respond and give you kind of your district level representatives. You can see school board, you can see your county commissioners, you can see your city or town councilors, your state level representatives. The state level representatives are very important. That's the General Assembly, located in downtown Raleigh. They're up for re-election every 2 years. So next year, when we think about the presidential election, our state representatives are up. They help control policing and healthcare and the environment and our taxes.
You better put us on game. Let us know.
So reach out to me. This could be a whole episode.
Yes.
Do your best to search the internet. I mean, we know young people are very inquisitive and know how to do that. It is very difficult sometimes. I won't say it's easy, but reach out to folks in your community who may know who those people are. Reach out to me and try to search the internet is the easiest thing I can say for who are my representatives, who is my city councilor. You can also pick up the phone and call. Like, I love talking on the phone. I love texting. I'm a zillennial, or a zennial, excuse me. But I also love to pick up the phone and just call. Hey, I know who I am, right? I know that it's important to have young people play a role in the political process. I should be able to call my city and say, hey, can you help me find my representative? And they should be able to do that. So don't be afraid to call, and you can easily find the phone numbers of those offices at the city, town, and state level online.
And when in about 15 years from now, when you see him running for mayor, you know what I'm saying? He says his name is Greear Webb. You know what you need to do when you get to that box, okay? You know what you need to do when you get to that box. Hey, yo, Greear, I knew it was a reason why I wanted to tap into you, and I'm so glad that I did, because you just put me on so much game. But like I said, as much as we talk about, like, music and culture and all those things of that nature on this show, a big part of that is knowing, just how to navigate systems, right? And how to navigate the things that really, those things that you kind of wake up and don't think about, but it's working.
Right.
Or it's, and even if it's not working, you won't know about it. You know what I'm saying? But just tapping into, like, just let's call it what it is, your politics that are around you. That word, I think the word politics just scares people. Yeah, so that's why I'm sitting here like, what's another way to say it? But that's just what it is.
Especially in this day and age when you have that partisan and the divisive nature of politics. I mean, we don't even have all the time to get into the harmful effects of the two-party system, but like I said, I'll continue to educate people by saying the root word of politics goes back to people and how we interact with the citizens around us. I mean, everybody has a community, and I hope that everyone's community is supportive. We know that's not always the case, and so I think navigate is the key word. We're all navigating life. I want to be a connector. It's not all about me. I love entertainment, but politics is about engagement. So how can we entertain, how can we engage and work together to navigate life in a way that's fun? I think people think politics is either like evil or it's boring. And it can be fun. Like community cookouts, right? Bring in a local entertainer, have the conversation about politics, and then go jam, go eat for the rest of the time. It doesn't always have to be we're sitting at a desk, civics lessons, but there is a time for that, because we should all know who our representatives are in this day and age when they're doing so much, sometimes to help us and sometimes to hurt us and screw us over. We need to be able to hold them accountable.
You heard it here first.
It's necessary.
You heard it here first. And basically that just comes down to do your part. So make sure, again, you tap in with him at Greear Webb. Of course, you're going to see that right below him. So make sure you follow him and keep up with him. And again, if you have any questions, he's told y'all, feel free to reach out. If you want to book an interview with me, if you are any part of the entertainment personnel born and raised in North Carolina, or you know someone that is, and you want them to come to the show and be able to tell their real, raw story, make sure you tell them to check in with me, www.ashleyamaya.com. Thank you so much for watching. Please make sure that you like, comment, and share it with somebody, okay? And while you're doing that, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit the notification bell so you can know when I drop anything. It's a lot to say, but I got it out, right?
That's right.
You already know. I'm Ashley Amaya. It's the real, the raw, the rap. It's the hot seat, and we're out.